wait till it's too late. Call McIntyre Elder Law.
Hey. I'm weird. Blooper time. Hey, I'm 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Greg McIntyre with McIntyre Elder Law, and we're going to do a special show today called From the Ground Up. My wife Stefanie is here. She looks like Christmas today. We had some firm pictures, a group picture. So we're here. We wanted to talk about our story. Andrea, our marketing director, had been asking us, what is our story? And we had been thinking about our story, and everybody has a story, and I wanted to tell you a story about McIntyre Elder Law. And you can't remove that from our personal story either,
right?
Because it's so intertwined. And I was doing a seminar yesterday, and I kind of started talking about how we became a firm, because I had somebody say that we were a turnkey operation. We kind of had everything under one roof. And I don't know, I was a little offended by that, kind of, but I'm like, look, I need to tell this person how we got here, how I just do elder law, how I just do estate planning. And we had already been talking about doing this, so thank you for being here.
Sure.
This is Stefanie.
Hi.
Stephanie Thompson McIntyre.
Yes.
Stephanie Page Thompson McIntyre.
Yes.
Yeah. And
you can give out my social security number next.
okay,
Like.
stay tuned. We'll run that across the bottom of the screen. Okay, it's 704-259-7040. Call it on your phone. No, that's our phone number. So anyway, I guess man, I always knew that I wanted to be an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And this is not just about me.
Right.
But the firm is a lot about you too. I don't know if you always knew that you wanted to help me build a law firm, right? But
no, I did not always know that.
I think I always talked about going to law school and being an attorney.
When I met you, that was what you wanted to do, was go to law school.
Yeah, since I was a little kid. Watching Perry Mason at First Baptist Church Daycare in Shelby, because my mom was the pastor's secretary there for like 25 years. So in the TV room, I'd always watch Perry Mason. And they'd always fight it out, you know? And that's always what I thought I wanted to do. Man, I met you when we were young, and I was home on leave from the Navy. I was in the Navy, U.S. Navy, and we went out for dancing, right? Hung out.
Not exactly.
And instead of dinner and dancing, it was dancing and dinner.
So we had best friends that were brother and sister, yet we had never met.
True story. And
they both asked us if we wanted to go out one Friday night, not really knowing that the other would be there, and things just happened.
And she was like, "Who is that dude?"
Pretty much.
No. And then we've kind of been pals ever since, right? Yeah. Hung out together. You came and hung out with me in San Diego.
Yes.
Which is where I was stationed in the military.
Beautiful.
Love San Diego. And you would go out to the beach during the day.
Coronado
Big
Island.
beaches out there. The beaches out there are different from the beaches on the East Coast.
The water's cold.
The water's cold. There's no
beautiful.
Gulf Stream, but they're beautiful and big and wide, right?
Yes.
Yeah, lots of beach, lots of sand, and especially there on Coronado Island, off of San Diego.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. At that point in time, yeah, I mean, we were hanging out. We ended up getting married, right? And the rest is history. Having babies.
Lots of babies.
When you were pregnant with Jordan, I went on a 6-month cruise.
I found out I was pregnant in May, and you had to leave the second week in June, and I did not see you again until December the 23rd. And that was exactly.
So I missed out on the majority of that pregnancy.
I mean, duty calls, but so you
went on a world cruise. I started in San Diego and ended up in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yes.
Around the planet.
So
I got something called the Order of Magellan.
No, you didn't end up in Norfolk on that one. The Hawaii. You did the Tiger Cruise.
Okay.
And came back to San
So
Diego.
maybe the other
from
one was the
Hawaii.
world cruise then. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. you left, and I was
You're right.
6
You're
weeks
right. The
pregnant.
second one was a normal Westpac. The first one was a World Cruise. That's right.
Came back at 36 weeks pregnant.
36 weeks, yeah.
It's a big girl.
You look different. You look different. You look different, yeah. But you were beautiful.
Thanks.
That was a big shock, like having a child, our first child.
Mhm.
It was a big shock.
It was.
I mean, it was a
It huge
was a
adjustment.
much different responsibility.
Uh huh.
You know, it was just different.
Right.
And, you know, I guess I came out, we plus, instead of going straight into law school at that point, we stepped back and said, okay, we gotta work.
Daddy needs a job.
Yeah, Daddy needs a job. So we moved to Raleigh.
Well, your time in the Navy was up that January, right?
Sure,
Before
yeah,
you was
I got out of the
born.
Navy
So
in
you
January.
got out, and then we had to decide what we were going to
January
do
of 2000.
to live and support our newborn baby.
Yeah, so I had skills in computer programming from when I was a kid, literally just learning how to program computers since I was maybe 8. It was just always a thing that I did, and I was a pretty decent programmer.
Right.
And so I just went to Raleigh, and Carrie, I ended up working at a company called 3D Village and being one of their programmers there. And then
Well, you
in-
went to school also to
I
hone
did.
those skills while you were there. Remember?
Well, Raleigh's College of Art and Design. I
Right.
did that for a while.
Mhm.
Ended up not finishing there though because I was already in the industry working, and I was already, I think,
Already figured out what you needed
yeah,
to know.
and what I thought was, you know, above and beyond ahead of where we were in class. How about that? So,
Right.
so I was ready to just roll with that.
Mhm.
And I like being a computer programmer. I did a lot of graphic design there too. I like those things. But the problem is I love people too. And that was always, I would come home and complain. I said, you know, they see me as somebody who's just in a cubicle, right? And I love to go do this other stuff. And
Well,
you know,
after
be with people and,
after 9/11, the industry took a huge hit too, and it was
yes.
hard to.
I want to say I
Work
had
in that
already
industry,
applied
period.
to law schools in 2002, or it was
Mhm.
about that time.
After 9/11, you applied
Okay,
because the industry was just very shaky, and
right.
I think you
Right.
switched companies during that time
Yeah,
because there were layoffs
to their parent
and
company.
such.
To their
Mhm.
parent company. That's
Mhm.
right. I was hired by their parent company to come on there,
Right.
and then worked there for a while until was accepted at law school and went that path, right? And we had bought a townhouse in Cary. We had Jordan, our first son,
Mhm.
who was growing up, and he was 2 when I went to law school.
Yes.
And then Tucker didn't come until after we were
Second
in law school.
year in law school, I found out I was pregnant with him. Oops,
Yeah.
surprise.
Law school was different too, going back to school. But people think attorneys are rich. That's what I think the
Mhm.
perception is,
Right.
or that like you've always been that way to get there or something. They don't know how much we struggle to get there.
Oh my goodness. I worked in childcare in
You're
order
really good at that.
to have a job that paid for childcare. I worked in childcare because it was my best option since
At
I
really
had
good
not
daycares,
finished
Like
school.
5-star daycares in Cary.
Oh, fantastic
that were nuts.
daycares.
Daycares that
Crazy
had-
nice.
Everything labeled in foreign languages and English so that you would learn both.
Right.
Science class, all kind of cool stuff. Right.
It was nuts. It
It
was
was cool.
a fantastic school,
Yeah.
and I had great people to work with. But it was pretty much what I had to do to earn money to help contribute.
Sure. I had the GI Bill.
I did love it though.
I worked, and then when I went back to school, I had the GI Bill, and I worked at a law firm and
A restaurant.
a restaurant. Yeah, I was a waiter. I was a waiter at a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
which people knock those types of jobs. I love service
A
industry.
good
I love
character
being a
building jobs.
If somebody tells me that they don't want to do a job like that, that tells
Mhm.
me a lot about what they think is beneath them. Plus, there's a ton of people skills you can use and build when you're offering service to someone and dealing with them.
Mhm.
Plus, if you work for a good restaurant or a good bar restaurant, you can you can make a good amount of money, especially on the weekends and
Oh, yeah.
entertaining parties, things like that. I mean, it's an amazing place to hone your skills. So yeah, so we both, I mean, worked to get me through law school, what you think? And it was tough. I mean, there were tough times,
There were.
but it seems like we were happy then though. I mean, or it wasn't that tough, you know, but I know that it was tough sometimes.
It was stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful sometimes.
We were lucky too to have very supportive parents.
We did.
If we needed anything or hey, I have to go do this for work or that, and they would babysit if we needed, you know.
That's why, but I don't like people who make excuses. You know what I mean? I think there's
right.
always a will. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to get the education or do whatever you need to do. in
Right.
life. And there are setbacks for
Mhm.
people, but you know, if you're willing to overcome those and move on, then you're just stronger because of it. Everything that we've overcome has made us stronger. There's no
Oh,
doubt
yeah.
about it. And then I came out of school, started a firm, worked for an attorney in Wilmington for a while, learned a lot.
Came out with a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
That's right. We had a 1-year-old
Mhm.
boy too, Tucker. At that point in time, we had another child, and then family planning. Yay! Whatever. We've never not been able to pay for our children and
That's true.
provide for our children. It's
Sure.
all, you know, we've always found a way. So you know, I got, you know, worked for another firm down there, but that was struggle too. I mean, you know, man, there was a firm that I went to work for down there that just kind of dissolved a few months after I went down there.
We went to work there a week after you graduated from law school, and then worked the entire summer. And I think the last week in August, they were like, "Hey, you know how you just moved down here to work here?
Yeah,
Well, you don't have a job,
yeah.
so
And they've dissolved the firm. So
yes,
that's,
that was scary.
yeah, it was
'Cause
scary.
we still had a house payment. It's
It's not
scary.
it's not scary now, but
No.
it was scary then because I didn't know that everything would be fine. I
Right.
just figured it out.
Right.
And then worked for another attorney for a while, which was a good experience. I
Mhm.
learned a lot, and doing a lot of real estate. I did a lot of real estate when I started out, and then started my own firm there for a while, and I wasn't ready. And then figured out, you know what? I need to work for other attorneys for a long time, or for a while, and figure things out.
Do you remember you bought the back page of the phone book?
I did.
And with your first firm?
Oh God, man, you're gonna read it. If anybody can find that picture and bring it to me, that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
I have
You
it.
do have it?
I do.
Because I'm
have
like
it.
posing in front of a bunch of yachts at the pier or something like that. It was so cheesy.
So expensive.
It was expensive.
It was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And then so went to work, but we came back here.
Mhm.
We came back home. We came back to our roots, and I went to work for some other attorneys,
Mhm.
and just cut my teeth and learned, and we raised a family. Did we have any kids while I was working for other attorneys at Cleveland
So
County?
when you came back here, we had 2 children, and then that was August. 11 months later, we had a little girl.
After we came back here,
Mhm.
Savannah,
Yes.
who was my first little girl. I was freaked out about having a little girl, but she was daddy's girl. Still
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Still is, by the way. Even if she's having a tough time or anything else, daddy can talk to her.
Oh yeah.
It's true story.
Much better than me, for
Yeah.
sure.
You think so?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, I remember I've got a picture of me holding her like in the palm of my hand, like her on my shoulder. And she was just always sweet, a sweetheart little baby growing up, you know. Very, very loving. So anyway, and then I guess 2010, 2009,
Mhm.
like September 2009.
8, I think.
2000.
Let's see.
no,
She
it was
was
2009.
born.
It was
She
2009.
was born in 2007 in the summer, and she was about 18 months when you started your own firm. So what is that? 2009.
Yeah, it was like fall of 2009.
Okay.
I started the McIntyre Law Firm and a general practice. I was doing a lot of criminal work and a lot of personal injury work, doing estate work as well. I always liked real estate and estate work. I would do a lot of real estate too. We would still do real estate closings. Just doing a little bit of everything in a smaller town, you know.
Right.
Um,
Where were you when you started out?
At 107 North Lafayette Street with a couple of other attorneys. We shared that
Okay.
space.
All
We
right.
just split rent on the space
Mm-hmm.
and, or shared rent on the space.
Gotcha.
And then, and we had one room,
You didn't have any employees at that time?
No.
Just you?
and you would come in and help me mail out traffic letters and things like that.
Oh my goodness, and do fee sheets?
Mm-hmm. Do fee agreements, right, for court appointed work, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, on the court appointed list. And I'd been on that list since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were able to rent a space from a 3-year lease at North Lafayette on the main street in town, right across from Shelby Cafe. And
Right.
we designed out the interior of it. And you were laughing earlier, telling me, can't believe we paid that much for
You
that space.
designed it. I was scared to death. I was still in that.
It was kind of an empty shell.
I was scared. I was scared to spend it all, or scared to do and make.
And we
any
paid way too much
moves.
for rent for that place.
We did.
Yeah, you did. And but that was a good space. And when we moved in there, I had the furniture for my office because we had previously had that.
Right.
We didn't have anything else.
No.
It was an empty space. And I set up a plastic table the first week or two
That was
you
my
used
desk.
as a desk in what would become the conference room.
Yes.
And that's how we started. Because that's what we had
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
And bought a used
just rolled with what we
copier
had.
from somebody.
We got a used copier. I got it from a guy in Mooresville or somewhere up there. Yeah. And went to, what's that? I went to his house. I went to his house and bought it on like a Saturday morning. Yeah, because he had it there. He had a
I
couple
think it was
times.
a workhorse.
It was a
though.
workhorse. I wanted to fix it. You remember? I didn't want to
Yeah.
let it go.
It was pretty great for $500.
$500, man. What did I use to get on this? Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist was the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a ton of furniture on Craigslist.
Exactly.
And copiers or whatever. But then, started putting together that office, and by the time I was finished, it didn't take me long. How long did it take me to really build that office out like I wanted it with furniture?
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I don't think the clients cared at that point in time.
I don't think so.
They were there, we treated them like gold while they were there, and we helped them.
They knew we were working hard.
Yeah, we were working hard. And you would have a baby. We stayed there for 3 years.
When we first moved
We had another
in,
baby while we were there too, didn't we?
We had 2 babies in that space.
Savannah and...
Right after you got the space, I found out I was pregnant with Madison.
We have 6 kids.
I
by the
was
way,
like,
if you didn't know.
wow, okay.
Madison and Alex we had there?
Yes.
Okay, so Madison, and then you would have a baby and be in a few days later.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes maybe 2 days. I mean, really, literally, just sitting at the front desk, with a baby in a baby carrier, with the vacuum cleaner there to turn it on so that the baby would stay quiet because babies like vacuum cleaners.
And if
White
our
noise.
kids were sick, they were there in our conference
Yeah,
room
true
in
story.
sleeping bags.
Yeah.
We had a little movie projector. It was a toy.
Oh, because we work late. We work late a lot there.
Mm-hmm. Very
Yeah.
late.
Very late. I kept some crazy hours. Actually, I was so burnt out by the end of that 3-year lease.
Oh yeah.
I was so burnt out by general practice in the end of that 3-year lease. It was nuts. I remember we had made more money than we had ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the 3 years, I was so happy because of what we had done, but then I was devastated because of what we got home with, which was very little.
Right,
And
because you don't realize
how much work
when
I
you
put
go
forth.
into your own business that you may make a lot, but then you've got to pay out a lot for overhead. And we did
Taxes.
have a few
Taxes.
employees at that time, but the
Sure.
overhead, we had tons of overhead,
Yeah.
and it also takes a lot of money to support a family. And at that time, it was a family of 6.
We had a family of 6 then?
No, we had a family of 7. Sorry, yeah.
Right, we had 5 kids then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the time that lease was up, we had 5 children.
Yeah, and then, but the problem was I had spent out so much energy fighting, just being a general practitioner, and with a small office, and not a lot of help, not a lot of
No.
help. and just a lot of, I mean, you did as much as you could, we did as much as we could, but
Right.
I mean, I was staying up. I didn't,
It was
I didn't get
too-
hardly any sleep that night.
Too much work for 2 people, but too little pay for more.
Yeah, true story. And I mean, I don't feel like I got much sleep for those years at all.
Oh my gosh.
And at the end of that, I decided that I was ready for a change. I had to figure something else out. Hello, dear. This is Kate. Kate wasn't born then, were you?
No.
So at the end of that lease, Calvin Coleman, another attorney in town,
Mm-hmm.
let me lease a space in his office for a couple of years. So for a couple of years, we stepped back and totally, I got a lot of funny stories of that office too, okay? But I can't tell all of them, all right?
No.
I don't have a release.
It
to
was
tell
it
them.
was a good time.
It was a fun time.
It was a good time to lower overhead,
Yes.
to
Can I hold it or put it down?
what am I trying to say? Lower overhead,
Evaluate.
to kind of have a mentor too.
Yeah.
You know, another attorney.
I started using a business
very
coach too,
seasoned
Bob, at that
attorney,
time.
A business coach,
Right.
yes.
And I started thinking about, okay, well, how can I cut out some of the other areas that I'm doing and just
I
focus?
also left at this point.
Yeah,
And I
you said, okay.
left the firm because I was not able to give 100% anymore with 5 little ones, and at that point, I had 3 in car seats still, and so my work was not at its best. So we hired someone who was very organized and did a great job, and it took a lot of stress off of me.
I will say that when you work with people like that, though, other attorneys, I mean, you do generate a lot of good times and stories. We were sitting around with some
Oh,
other
yeah.
attorneys the other night,
Mm-hmm.
swapping war stories, and that was just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of memories. But I did something. I've talked about this X Factor thing. What I mean is, and you can go back if you look at one of the old elder law reports. It's been a few months back. I cut out all the other areas of law except for one, and she thought I was nuts.
I was scared. I've up until the last few years, I have been scared of every change, every growth, every purchase. I don't know why, but I just, I get scared. I don't like to take risks, and you're a risk taker, but
I don't look at it that way.
I guess calculated risk
Yeah,
taker.
to me, it's not a risk.
Right.
If I make a move, I've generally already made the decision that this is the right thing to do,
Right.
and I kind of can see where it's going. But that doesn't mean I'm always right. But I know I'll figure it out, right?
Mhm.
I'm more of a shoot first and then aim. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Problem most people have is shooting. They have a problem actually pulling the trigger on things.
Mhm.
They're too busy aiming, and they aim themselves to death. And they're scared of pulling that trigger.
Right.
So I eliminated every other. I started turning down family law cases and criminal cases. And you thought I was pretty decent in a criminal courtroom, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. I mean, the trials that I sat in on, I was very, very impressed because you're such a fighter,
I fight.
and I was very
But fighting
scared
takes a lot out of me too.
for you to change what you did, being so good at what you did. But I also knew that in that type of law, when you're growing your business, there are very lean times, and there's times where things are great, and it was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, it was very much a roller coaster.
And I had to just focus on one area. And I really,
Right.
really always loved the real estate part and
Mhm.
estate planning and all
Mhm.
that. And I ended up just turning away all other business, which was really, really hard at first. But then after we turned away all the other business, I was just able to focus on estate planning and elder law. And
I know sometimes I think back at some of the first cases that we had, not going into any detail, but some of the things that we took because we knew we had a bill due. It's like, wow.
and we were fighting for people, right?
Yes.
I mean, I like to think we helped a lot of people out in Cleveland County and
Oh,
beyond.
definitely.
I
And
mean, I fought a lot of cases.
I'm not
and
I'm not
battles.
making fun of that at all.
No,
but there
I mean,
were some things that a lot of work for
a little bit of money.
bit of money.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's true.
yeah,
But regardless, narrowing it down to just one area of law has allowed me to just focus on that area, and then really
learn the area inside and out. Sure.
I would advise anyone in any profession, any job. I don't care if you're a builder or a brick mason. Just figure out one little area of it that you want to do when you can get to that point, and just focus on it, and just take. And just take jobs in that area and learn it really well. Anyway, we did that.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I guess I moved out to 123 West Marion
Yes.
for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3.5, 4 years.
Which was a wonderful space.
It's a good location to grow.
to be able to grow.
Good landlord.
Right.
Yeah.
Very,
And,
very good landlord.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a lot of growth there. I was able to really hone my skills as an estate planning and overall
Mhm.
attorney, and really grow our practice in the areas of probate, estate planning, Medicaid benefits for long-term care, saving assets there, and becoming a certified attorney through U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs for veterans pension and veterans disability, which I like to say when you look at your life backwards, it makes sense. And it does. I mean, from the military experience
Mm-hmm.
to, I was in the military, I was in the Navy for 4 years. I met Stefanie my last year in, essentially, right?
Right.
I had a little more
December,
than,
and then you got out the
Yeah, I
following
met you in December.
January.
what date in December was it?
December the 18th.
December the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And, good job. And
98.
1998.
Yeah.
And then, then that allows me to really have a connection with veterans that have served, and to help them too, which makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So we do all that, and now we have another attorney that works with us, Brenton, and we have a good sized staff. I probably have a larger staff than anybody I know for our size firm.
Right.
We have like 10, 11 people here now that are all working to help clients with estate planning and overall issues. And that's all I do. And I kind of had to make that decision, not with the blessing necessarily of everybody around me, okay, including maybe somebody else on camera right now. But you just, I think you still love me. You had faith in me.
Oh yeah.
And if it didn't work out, we would have gone a different direction, right?
Right.
And you still don't know what the future holds. But this is our story. And this is our story so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had another child,
Yes.
Kate, who's the little blonde that was on camera. And when are we having our next child?
Oh no. That's not happening.
Are we done?
We're done.
You done? Okay. But I don't know. I feel like we've got a lot of history. How long have we been married? 19 years?
19 years.
19 and a half?
Yes. 20 in June.
20? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up on 20.
Yes.
So man,
Long
it feels like a long time. I feel like we're still pretty young too. I still feel really young,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I still try to work out and stay in shape. You come with me sometimes. We
Occasionally.
fight over workouts because she doesn't like some of the places I work out and the things I do, and I don't love the places she works out and the things she does it. So, but it's a little more fun if we do it together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why? Yes.
Yes.
Stephanie's YMCA. So I do like the YMCA, but and we go over there sometimes
We
too.
do.
I try to drag her into CrossFit, and you did CrossFit maybe.
I did it. I did it for two and a half years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else with our story?
I mean,
I feel like it's been a fun adventure. I feel like it's been short, and
we've always been busy, so it kind of flows by.
yeah.
Flies by, not flows
Always
by.
been really busy. I like to stay busy, and I look forward to continuing to do what we do
Mm-hmm.
and growing our Charlotte office, and then eventually our Asheville office
Right.
that we're going to have in the future, right?
Yes.
But anyway, thank you for doing the elder law report review. this
Sure,
morning
no
in our store.
problem.
And if you want to pick my brain about estate planning or elder law issues, or meet with myself or Britton, our other estate planning and elder law attorney, you can give us a call. Our Charlotte office is 704-998-5800. Our Shelby office is 704-259-7040. Or you can learn a lot more about us, estate planning, and any other elder law issue by going to our website at mcelderlaw.com. Thanks.
Bye.